Hello, I am Moonstorm, and today we're going to be breaking down the Javelin ships on a how to quickly break down these ships. The Javelin style ships, they probably come in the most variety. You got some that are fuel tankers or cargos, science vessels. Some comes with the big rings, some without, some antennas. But the base philosophy on how to quickly break them down should transfer to all styles of this ship. But we'll go ahead and click. Uh, we'll go with the ones with the rings on them. Just add that to the breakdown. So as we go through,
Hey Lou,
we want to go ahead
about these new union guidelines.
and
It says we can't work any longer than our shift time.
Yep, that's right, kiddo.
So, I guess I'm wondering, what if I need to work a bit longer?
Well,
yep.
you can't.
But sometimes I want to finish something.
I know. I feel that all the time too. But that's also what they take advantage of. A few extra minutes here and there is dozens of hours of unpaid work in a year.
But it'll take me longer to get set up again the next day.
Yeah, but then at least you're getting paid.
Don't spend too much on it, Kai. The Union's fighting fire with fire. In this case,
Alright.
rules with more rules.
It's to protect everyone.
Oh, I know. And I appreciate it, Lou. But it's still just more rules. Depressurizing.
You can break them up. You can break them up under multiple days, and you can break those heavy rings by blasting them apart with more charges. But you're just wasting charges, and they'll move in big sections like that. So that's just the way I do them.
Air pressure level decreasing.
These bridges, you need to recompress. Go ahead, send them to the furnace. And here's the if you're in a hurry and you don't care to
Applying credit.
recover all this in one go, you can just slice it off and send the whole thing down into the barge. But if you do want to separate it out and get it to the processor, you can. Alright, now that talking's done, nice here, you can go ahead and get your line tool. I find it best to get off all the fuel, because if you do your line tool and accidentally cut into it, it will blow up a lot, and we don't want that. So go ahead, quickly just go down the line. Make sure you take your time to aim, but rotate. You can rotate once it's fired. Just want to quickly get off all these fuel tanks so they're out of our way. That way, they're not a hazard anymore. They can't be a hazard if they're on the barge already. So go ahead. After you get your big rings off, you can go ahead and move on to the fuel tanks. You'll get the style that are two on the side, or you'll get the ones that are absolutely all around. Or you'll have the centered fuel line tanks. Those ones, you'll have to be extremely careful. You'll have to cut out some of the framing that they're around in order to edge them out. So you want to be real careful and aim for like definitely somewhere where it can't cross the big fuel tank in the middle in order to not get hit by it. Then we just use our tool to push these out a little bit. Definitely don't charge, otherwise you'll send them railing against the walls. The up one you might want to hit twice. This bottom one, you can just go ahead and full strength it down towards the barge. After they're free from their container, I just use my tethers to get them all down there nice and smoothly. One tether each should be fine. You can check on it later, make sure they made it all down. Any straggler behind, you can just gravity down. Whoop. go ahead and attach it to one of these. It should clear it.
Salvage
If you want to,
deposited.
you can go ahead and push it off to the side so it goes to whichever direction you're pulling it down. Alright. Same with the back ring that it is the front rings. Burn 2 of these off. Put your charges in the middle here. And we got an antenna here, so let's go ahead and grab that.
Salvage deposit registered. Account credited.
Go ahead. Separate them out. Charge in the middle one. Blow it. Float the ring down. And here on the side, even if you got it looped around, you can usually go ahead and force it back. And once it starts leaning to one side, it will clear it. Let's go ahead and get this antenna out of the way. There's a bottom antenna too we can hit.
Credits awarded.
Good to put that on a little straighter, but I don't think it will cut into anything. So we're okay.
Credits.
Get that pushed in the rest of the way.
Salvage
Okay,
deposit
that
confirmed.
should push it the rest of the way.
Credit.
That's nearly all externals. With the cargo chips, you may have to also get the cargo out of your way. But a quick tether to all of them and they'll push themselves down. We'll get that front ring in a second. But you don't want to separate the two before getting the reactor. Batteries are usually in the front, so if you disconnect the middle shaft, it will disconnect power from the 2 halves of the ship, and we don't want that. We want to be able to properly do our second level reactors. So we'll go ahead and get into the ship. Do some cutting fairly quick.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Just to get some of the weight moved out of the way. Here we can just squeeze into the ship. Oh, you know what? We are pressurized, so we want to be careful about that. Jump the gun. Alright, you know what? We can't depressurize as it is gonna go ahead. So you can do it one of two methods. You can crack the ship and push the whole thing back. Although with this much air pressure, you might lose it. So another option is just hold the airlock, blow it out, and then once it's done, we're good here. What? Okay, well that wasn't no good. That should have emptied out both. Let's go ahead and do it again one more time. I let go. You don't want to let go, otherwise you'll get thrown out. Kind of judged that too early. But go ahead, and what we want first is the back of the ship. We can go ahead, pop the reactor off, or the thruster. And that just gets us. We got a clear line to that. To the barge. This whole separate thing can actually go as one piece, so we want to go ahead.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Separate it out from the 2 halves of the ship. And again, we'll have to just be careful. If you want, go ahead and tether it to the wall. Sometimes it gets a little sticky. You may have to move some of the electronics out of the way. Sometimes you'll get it holding onto the wall, but I think we're good here.
Salvage deposit secured. Credits awarded.
Alright, so now that we're separate, we can go ahead and move our reactor. If you're in a real hurry, you can just separate these out
5 minutes left to get your work done.
and
Cutter?
bring it all the way down to throw it into the barge. But if you want to get more resources out instead of rush the time, which is going to take us multiple days anyway, we can just safely remove the reactor from its housing. It'll just take 3 panels. All level 2 reactors are done similarly. You just gotta remove 3 of the panels in order to really get it out. Now we're on the clock, but we've got a clear path to the barge. Pull it up, then just push it down,
Reactor meltdown detected. Urgent
and we're done. And the good part is we can now just burn off the connector. This stays together and all goes in the processor, and the unit all stays together and goes into the barge. Alright, and the rest of this is heavy enough just to get pulled by some tethers into the front. And this is the entire back half of the ship. Sometimes there will be a side barge, you'll just go do it, treat it the same. Splice off the actual connector bridge, and you'll be done. So you can grab any extra things quickly, but usually not worth it. Ships this size,
Salvage deposited.
you want to focus on all the big aspects. Grabbing every little thing is just gonna waste more time, and they're already big enough to not worry about every little part that you can get. Now we've got the connecting bridge. Sometimes they'll be on the side like normal ships, and you'll have to separate them out from the sides of the nanocarbon housings like normal bays. The other half, you just split them off and burn them. The airlocks are usually pretty valuable, and only take the 2 connecting clamps to the actual housing to remove, so all those other connectors you can just ignore. Go ahead, and we'll grab this one too. If you get a good split away like this, remember that all this stuff is mostly aluminum and soft metal, so they'll go in your furnace. Same aspect, just reverse for this side of the wall. Grab it out. You get both the panel and the airlock. We're a little close here. Let's go ahead and add 2 more tethers here just to get it going. And then we can separate it out from the fuel lines, or the connecting bridge, whatever you want to call this section. Just hit some lines, get the floor pipes connecting, and this will separate it out. Had you done this first, you would have disconnected power from the front half of the ship to the back, and you wouldn't be able to turn off that reactor properly. You'd have to do it very fast, because if you do the coolant and the power, it will all still be connected. You can't get the handle to turn on the reactor for us to separate out the active fuel line, so you'll have a live fuel line that you can't drain out. And then you can go ahead, and if there's nothing hanging on, you can go ahead and also now just cut this part. And you got 2 sections in here. I find that it's just mostly nanocarbon, or on these outside struts it's a lot more. You'd have to detonate every single one of these connecting struts to separate out the panels from each other, and it's just not worth it. So I usually just go ahead and separate each segment. That way they're less weight. And we're about to run out on the first day here, and then you can just go ahead and send it to the bridge. All right, that's the first day, and we basically tore more than half the ship up. Could be done a lot faster with a better movement and execution of what exactly you're burning off, but we've got 6 grades here of the ship, or tally marks, whatever, and we've only technically destroyed 1% of the ship. So we definitely made some money on these ships. They're great. They come in big chunks, so they're usually pretty easy to get money on. I find the ones that are the hardest are the ones with large interiors, your science vessels. Those I find it best to mostly try to avoid that style of ship because it's just the least profitable. It takes a lot of time to get all that internal structure. Once you get the nanocarbon shell out from the center, just drag it down with a bunch of tethers to the barge and just get all the collected items that are in there. So we'll be able to finish this up in 2 shifts, easy peasy. The front half of the ship is usually less complicated, especially since we already got the reactor. The reactor still being the
Hello, Shipbreaker
most valued part of the ship. So once
Lynx
that
would like
out
to share the following
safely,
inspirational message.
we just
Some
want to
people
recover
dream of
the
great
rest of.
salvage, while other people get up every morning and make it happen.
Yep. Can we get those promotional audios to go off? But let's go ahead and do the rest of the ship. So second day of the Javelin. This front
I've got
chart.
a beast of a reactor here that's gonna take some time and concentration.
Dee Dee,
If you
trying
need
to teach
anything
people.
from me, now's the time to ask.
All right.
Should I keep stripping the processors out of these terminals today? It's taking a really long time.
The what? The processors?
Yeah.
You don't strip the processors out.
Oh,
Hi, what are you
How
doing?
have you been doing?
yeah.
All this time?
Yeah.
Who
Okay.
told you to do that?
Kai, buddy, I love you, but
You did.
I would have never said that.
I'll stop stripping them out.
okay.
You do that.
Yeah. I mean,
Thank you for
get some
Fuel levels
some tethers. I like Kai. He tries, man, but he's not built for this job. All right. Front halves of the ships, very similar. Want to definitely decompress them first. On the higher level ships, it can be tricky because a lot of times you'll have no live air cycler to do it with, but you can always just cut out the.
Salvage deposit confirmed. Applying credit.
So let's go ahead and cut these out. Unless, hold on, let's not be crazy. Do we have one? We do.
Salvage secured.
Except this one's only going to regulate this half, but you know what? We're fine. We've got an open airlock, so let's go ahead. Hold on to the wall. We're moving around. Okay, we are heavier than I thought, lighter than I thought. Could have done that at the very beginning when it would have been easy, but I thought we still had enough weight. But it won't change anything.
Airlock depressurizing.
We go ahead, depressurize everything, and cut the front section off. Line tool it. This style. Try to make them lighter, but go ahead, we'll just tether all front sections as one big go, and we should be fine.
Accepted for processing.
Yeah, that really moved us all around, but we don't have much left to the recover. This is probably a large chunk of it. So go ahead. These styles will connect to two sections, these Y joints. So find it faster, just do line tool. Here's what will people make mistake. They'll burn here, burn this back, and if those gas containers were still there, you could possibly hit them. So if you do, I'd do it towards the front, but you know, if not, you can just cut the whole thing in one big go really fast if you're not worried about recovering the electronics. But staying down and above it.
Valuable object accepted for processing.
Get our panel. See?
Salvage deposited. Applying credit to account.
Alright. What's nice is when they do come in the side, they'll break off these into smaller chunks, so they're a lot lighter to deal with. So that's nice when they're on there. Once you get them off, they'll leave really light panels. Then you can just throw it off, go into a reactor. You know what? I think we're still connected down here. We are.
Processing valuable object. Credit rewarded.
Alright. Then we just gotta play a little mini game. Grab the fuses out.
Electrical damage detected.
Ow. I'm gonna jump the gun on that one. And number 3. Now our battery's clear. Now we just got left is airlocks.
Transferring credits. Salvage deposit confirmed. Applying credit.
We got one more to burn. Okay, sometimes if you're oriented right, you can slide in through that gap, but that's just wasting time. So let's go ahead, get one panel off. Oh, did we miss one? We did miss one. Alright.
Salvage deposit accepted.
We got one more. Okay. And as long as we hit all the right parts, this should separate out.
Salvage secured. Applying credit.
You know what? We do not want to do this. We want to go ahead and make sure we're separated. And we could, let's go ahead, separate the plating. You'll hit all 4. And then that should separate this face out. Sometimes it likes being stubborn. Let's go ahead and get this nanocarbon out of our way. Those should be the only 4 connecting it. Alright, well, you got 2 options. You can burn out and pull everything down, or we can just send it to the barge. I'm gonna elect to send this to the barge. So, this should come off by itself now that it's separated. Although, yeah, sometimes you'll get connection still with, I bet I know what. We, on the inside, have stuff connecting it.
For processing.
So if we go to the inside, yeah, we've got these connecting the storage bins. We'll hold on stuff. Okay. But I think we're separated now. So we can go ahead. Send everything to its proper place.
Salvage accepted. Credit applied. Object processed. Transferring credits.
We're missing a... Okay, you know what? This...
Salvage deposit secured. Credits
Okay,
awarded.
we can separate these out. Again, just choose one side, it doesn't matter which. Line them off. And then they're light enough to go into either the processor or furnace. This has the connecting big face, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that one sent into the furnace. So, since it is closer, it should be light enough to push. So we'll go ahead.
5 minutes left, Cutter. You know what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and our iron ring did not make it in there. So let's go ahead and get 2 tethers. It must have got in the way of its own tether, cut off early. So while this drifts, since we got no other task to do, actually see we should wait. Cut off this panel, send it to the furnace, and the rest of this can go into the processor. That gave us enough weight to just be tetherable. And bam, 2 shifts, less than 2 shifts, we nearly got whole 4 minutes to spare, and we've got all 9 rankings to disassemble. And you just do a couple of those, you can level up real fast and chew into your debt. So, all, as I said, all types of javelins will follow the same philosophy. Get out the middle ring, the fuel lines. The only one that you can ignore and save it is the big tanker in the middle. What you'll do is you do the back reactor first, and from there,
Good morning, Shipbreaker.
like
This is your
normal,
daily
you'll
wake-up
cut
call.
off the back half of the ship carefully. Push it back a little bit, and then once it's clear, you can burn the 2 connectors and the 4 aluminum railings that those connectors connected to, and that will give you enough space to squeeze that big fuel tank in the middle out of there after you pull the disconnected valves. And from there, you can just put that in the barge and then treat it like normal. So you want to be careful that you don't hit it. They'll come with thrusters on the side too. You can, once the fuel tank's out of the way, you can cut those off and then send them to the barge each, and then send the middle frame into the processor. Do that first, because if you do the back half of the ships first, and then the front, you'll never cut off your power reactor first, and not be able to turn off any of the switches that require power. So, yeah, all javelins, shell them, do the outside, do the reactor and bridges, then do the middle frame sections, then process the front half of the ship and its battery on the second ship, and you should be able to break any style of those ships down from there. But thank you for following me on this ship breakdown tutorial for fast breakdown on the Javelin style ships. We've got one more style of ship to go, and it's the Gecko. They're slightly bigger, but I find they take a little longer to break down. Uh, I think I think they were the second style ship in the beta, so they've had some updates since then. But we'll show you how to break those down style too, because they're the only ones that have some of the parts that can go to your ship here. So if you wonder where some of them are, they're in the Gecko style ships mostly. But you can always use the detector on the right side here to tell you what you're looking for. But yeah, join me next time. All right.